We have some bad news at the end of this year. GPU prices could be going up a decent amount and not down like we're expecting for the holidays. So this 4090, I know because I bought this same model like 2 months ago and it was much cheaper. It went up already by $200, and this is at Micro Center, which traditionally has some pretty good pricing. So the GPU prices are already going up as far as I can see. What exactly is going on here? We're going to unravel. There's some stuff in here I didn't even know. So let's see what's been happening recently. A fairly interesting news item was that the US banned certain GPUs from going into other countries such as China, and the RTX 4090 also became part of this. And then we saw how pricing in China already started to double or triple for that GPU, because pretty soon people aren't going to be able to get nearly as many. We have to see if it's going to be mostly, focused on the consumer, or maybe towards the enterprise and AI and things like that. So that's interesting, right? How does it affect the rest of the world like US and Europe? And now let's hear a word from our sponsor, VIP-CDKdeals.com, a Windows 10 Pro CD key. Add to cart, you put in code CC20. This will also work on Windows 11. You want to go into your settings in Windows, change and adjust your CD key, click activate, and now let's go back to the video. Recently, I was watching the other YouTuber, Moore's Law is Dead, and he said he had some, insider information with some people that the 4090 is going to go up in price across the board, even in different countries. That means in the US, the 4090 will go up maybe $100 to $200, a pretty decent amount. Even if it's only like 10%, you're talking about a nearly $2,000 GPU. And I know I'll be the first one to tell you that anytime you're listening to rumors or speculation, especially on GPUs, that a million things can change, you always have to take it with a grain of salt. But it does help us at least to speculate on what can potentially happen. And let's see what's going on in the actual market and see if there are any warning signs that maybe a GPU increase is going to be happening. One of the GPUs that I have a feeling will certainly be affected is the RTX 4090. I know that's out of the budget for many people, but it's still the fastest NVIDIA GPU, and a lot of people bought it. In fact, a lot more than even bought the RTX 4080. What are some potential signs that we can see that potentially this GPU is going to go up in price? First, I've been looking around. You don't see nearly as many of them anymore. Even my local Micro Center, which was pretty stacked with 4090s going back a few months, they have one of each, and they only have a couple more of that really expensive Asus one with the the AIO, and it's already $21.99. That's why they have those in stock. And as you can see, they're not moving at all. Most of the GPUs have also gone up in price. Look at that PNY 4090. So this 4090, I know because I bought this same model like 2 months ago and it was much cheaper. It went up already by $200, and this is at Micro Center, which traditionally has some pretty good pricing. So the GPU prices are already going up as far as I can see. Not only that, they only have one of each. When I got mine, they had multiples in stock. So something is definitely happening, and I don't think it's just based on rumors. We can see that there's a lot of a decrease in supply for the RTX 4090 specifically. Let's point a little bit to the 4080. This is an interesting GPU. Yes, potentially a 4080 Super may be coming to, replace this or at least drop the price of this GPU. As far as we can tell, and even from what Moore's Law is Dead said recently, the 4080 has been one of the worst selling NVIDIA GPUs of this generation, and it probably is the worst. That's the GPU that the price to performance really isn't that great. And we've talked about the 4070 Ti gap and the 4090 gap. What I mean by that, people either buy a 4070 Ti or they buy a 4090, therefore skipping the 4080. Either you want to blow your budget or at least spend a lot of money and get a 4090 and just be done with it and get the best performance, or you want to be a little more sensible, $800 and under, and get a 4070 Ti. That leaves a venerable no man's land between $800 and $1,600, where people don't really seem to be wanting to buy. Even the AMD 7900 XTX, which does present a lot of good value for what you're paying for it, especially when it's on sale for $900 or less, even that one had to drop its price because gamers aren't picking them up. Looks like gamers even prefer a 4070 Ti that has, half the amount of VRAM and a lot less performance rather than go towards the AMD side. So very interesting what's happening there in that middle. And according to Moore's Law is dead, he said that these price increases, like on the 4090 and keeping everything sort of high in price, is to make whatever, super variants get refreshed, like a 4070 Super, 4080 Ti Super, or something like that, or a 4080 Super without a Ti. Who knows if they would ever mix those two names. If those GPUs come out at like the original pricing of RTX 4000, like let's say a 4080 Super is like $1199, if a 4090 is now like nearly $2,000 even in the US, that's going to seem like really good value in terms of perspective, because 20 gigabytes of VRAM, if it does have that, and then the performance is going to be closer to a 4090, although not quite, and you don't have to pay a massive $600 to $800 premium. Now, we don't know what pricing is going to be. Probably NVIDIA doesn't even know exactly now, but we can just guess $1199 seems pretty reasonable for a 4080 Super, especially if it has 20 gigabytes of VRAM. I think there will be gamers that buy that, even though it's still pretty expensive. And then we have to watch the 4080. Will NVIDIA just completely eliminate it, or will they decrease it officially to maybe $999 with some sales going down to like $900 or even the $800 range? In the $800 range, I think a lot of gamers would like a 4080. After all, 16 gigabytes of VRAM, it's not a bad GPU by any means. It's just currently very, very overpriced, and that's why gamers don't even consider or look at it. So while some GPUs like this is a 4060, is staying under $300. I don't think the lower GPUs in mid-range, like even a 4070 we've seen discounts on, I don't believe those are going to experience any serious price increases. I think we're going to see it mostly on the 4090. Maybe the 4070 Ti will stagnate a little bit, but we're going to have to see. The 4070 Super, especially one if it came with 16 gigabytes of VRAM, that would change the math completely. And then price to performance would change depending on what price that is released at. Would it be $100 more than a 4070, or would they put that at $599 and drop it down further? While we're not too sure, I think now the biggest hint that we have of some pricing changes, I really do think it is that 4090. I'm seeing prices go up. Even Newegg only seems to have like 2 in stock when I checked, and they were much more expensive than $1,700. Nothing around the $1,600 MSRP, the $1,599. That remains to be pretty difficult to find. All right, guys, take a look around wherever you live. Can you find 4090s? Have you seen the prices go up? What about AMD GPUs or 4080s, 4070 Ti? Let me know if you're seeing any weird pricing changes, and maybe we can predict what's going to happen by the end of the year. Prices always seem to go up, but we definitely want them to go down. Remember to subscribe, smash that like button, and I'll see you guys on the next video.